On October 31, 2005, 25-year-old photographer Theresa Halbach went missing in Manitowoc County, Wisconsin. She worked for Auto Trader magazine, photographing vehicles for classified ads, and her last known appointment was at the property of Stephen Avery, a local auto salvage yard worker with a controversial history. Theresa had visited the Avery property to photograph a van that Stephen Avery's sister had listed. She was never seen again. Her parents reported her missing 2 days later, when she failed to return calls and did not show up for appointments. Police immediately began retracing her last known steps and focused on the Avery property, which spanned over 40 acres and was filled with old vehicles and debris. Stephen Avery was no stranger to law enforcement. He had spent 18 years in prison for a sexual assault conviction before being exonerated in 2003 through DNA evidence. He had filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the county for wrongful imprisonment and was awaiting trial at the time of Theresa's disappearance. On November 5th, a volunteer searcher discovered Theresa's Toyota RAV4 partially hidden in the Avery salvage yard. The vehicle's doors were locked, and the license plates had been removed and found elsewhere on the property. Investigators quickly obtained a search warrant. What followed shocked the community. Human bone fragments were found in a burn pit behind Avery's trailer. Forensic testing later confirmed the remains belonged to Theresa. Further searches uncovered her car key in Avery's bedroom and traces of her blood in the RAV4. Investigators also found Stephen Avery's blood inside the vehicle, linking him directly to the crime scene. The case grew even more disturbing when Avery's 16-year-old nephew, Brendan Dassey, was brought in for questioning. After hours of interrogation without a lawyer or parent present, Brendan confessed to helping his uncle rape and kill Theresa before burning her body. His statements were inconsistent and later challenged, but prosecutors used them as a key part of their case. Stephen Avery maintained his innocence. He claimed he was being framed by authorities who wanted to derail his civil lawsuit. His lawyers argued that the evidence was planted and that Brendan's confession was coerced. The case sparked nationwide debate, especially after it was featured in a high-profile documentary that questioned the integrity of the investigation. Despite the controversy, a jury found Stephen Avery guilty of first-degree intentional homicide in 2007. Stephen Avery was convicted and is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Brendan Dassey was also convicted, though his confession and subsequent appeals became the subject of multiple court battles. Brendan Dassey was also sentenced to life in prison, with eligibility for parole in 2048. Both have continued to appeal their convictions. Theresa Halbach's family largely stayed out of the public debate. To them, the focus remained on the loss of a bright and independent young woman who had a passion for photography and a love for animals. She had simply gone to do her job and never returned. Her death became one of the most polarizing criminal cases in American history. Supporters of Avery and Dassey believe they were wrongfully convicted, while others are convinced the evidence proves their guilt.